Welcome back to Mossongland Farm. I'm Christina Mossong. This is our labradoodle Allie, affectionately called Allie Doodle. Today we're going to show you, she wants to show you, and so do I, how to do your own dog grooming. And just show you some tips and hints on how to best do that so you don't have to pay a groomer. You can do it on your own. It's definitely doable. And in particular, because she's the doodle, I think it's a great example of how to cut a really nice, fine, longer curly coat. And we're going to do a bell-bottom cut, which is really darling. It's my favorite cut. We're going to shave her and trim her all short except for her legs and underneath here a little bit, so it's really cute and darling for fall. I think it's a really flattering cut. About Allie Doodle. She is the best dog I think I've ever had, and I grew up with dogs, so feeling really blessed because she's such an awesome labradoodle. She is sweet, and if you've never had a doodle and you're considering, highly recommend. We got her about 9 years ago when she was just a puppy. Someone had an accident litter and didn't want the puppies, so we're just so excited to have her. She's sweet, she's super smart and trainable, and she's done a great job of learning how to be groomed by me at home. You know, it still wears on her patience. She still doesn't enjoy the process, but what's good about it is that at least it saves us money, and I can really make sure that I do it the way I want it done so that it looks nice. The other benefit of doing your own grooming is that, frankly, it's really healthy for you and your dog. You're sitting with your dog and you're spending a lot of time getting up close and personal with all the different parts of where they might have mats or where things could be unhealthy but hidden because the fur gets long. So I like it from a health standpoint because I know I'm getting up close and personal with her. And that way I can uncover if there's like a tick issue or if she has bites or if there's a rash or anything. I can make sure I'm on top of it, and I just have a good handle on my dog's health as well. And there's Izzy. We won't be grooming Izzy today. No, we won't. No, we won't, but she came to say hi. Hi. We're just starting out, and we want to share our joy and the things that we're learning on our hobby farm here, and the things that we love doing, like taking care of our doodle ourselves, and just thinking that because we enjoy it so much, others might also really enjoy that too. So please do subscribe. And I'll put some handy links below as well related to the different tools and tips today. And you're probably wondering, why am I dressed in this ridiculous outfit? One of the first things I've learned after doing my own dog grooming for 8 years is you have to have clothing that doesn't attract the fur as much, because I will be sitting in it, I'll be up and around it, and it will get in every nook and cranny. You'd be surprised if you haven't done this already, just how crazy that fur, it will just stick to everything like Velcro. So I've learned to wear things that aren't as clingy, you know, not like a fleece or something that would really attract and keep fur stuck to it. And usually that ends up being some really ridiculous looking yoga pants like these, and something I can zip up so fur doesn't get inside my clothes as much. So in order to groom your dog, you're going to need some basic things. First things first, I highly recommend you invest in a trimmer. If you're actually serious about DIY dog grooming, you need to have a tool like this, and they do cost a few bucks. If you go cheap, you will get what you pay for, and it will not work well. So I do recommend investing in something like an Andis. This is a really nice trimmer, ANDIS brand. They have multiple models. This trimmer has been with us for many years. I want to say we've had this for probably 6 years, and it has been the best lifesaver. It has paid for itself over and over. I want to say, I'll put some links below, but I want to say the price point is anywhere from $175 up to $300 depending upon the model. So it's not cheap. But if you think about the cost of going to a groomer and what that takes, especially on a medium or larger size dog, this is well worth the investment. And frankly, ones that aren't as expensive and good quality will not cut the fur
effectively, you will run into problems. It will slow you down. It won't be efficient, and therefore it's just not worth the time or the money. Of course, you want to make sure you have oil to go with the trimmer. You just put a little bit here. You just run it along this as you first turn it on. And you want to make sure you have a nice blade that works for the length you're looking for. The one I love the most is the 5FC. It's a ceramic blade, which I understand cuts better. It has a ceramic piece here that is just sharper and works better. And it keeps the hair at a 6.3 millimeter length. I don't know what that is in inches. I'll make sure to look that up and add that here. But it's just a really nice length. That's not too short, but it's also nice and close, and you're getting a nice clean shave for them. You do want to have shears, of course. This is for detail areas we'll go over. Notice the rounded point on here. We do not want to have a pointy tip because you don't want to accidentally poke or cut the dog, of course. And so this does a nice job of providing that safety, and you just hold it like such. And they are very sharp blades though, and so that's why it makes sense to invest in these. It'll help you be very efficient at those detail areas that you really wouldn't want to use for a trimmer. Water to cool down the blade as it gets hot, and I always have paper towels handy to then pat dry that blade as we're going through the different break times where it gets hot. And then last but not least, you want to have treats for your furry friend. Make sure they stay motivated. It's a little bit on their patience, of course. They don't like being groomed, so I always make sure I have treats handy. If you're more of a beginner, I highly recommend that alongside this shear, you also use just a basic thin plastic comb. I don't have a good prop here. I don't have one handy. I don't use them anymore, but they're a great guard. Right now what I do is I just use my fingers and then I clip to make sure I don't cut too close to her skin and end up accidentally cutting her. But it's a very, very great thing to pair with the shear is to have that, just a basic plastic fine tooth comb. A normal human comb will work just fine. And then you just run it through the fur and then use it as a guard as you're trimming. So we're starting out in the garage first, and I got a nice outdoor rug here. And I have natural sunlight this way so that I can have good lighting, plus the lighting in the garage. The reason I'm working in here is because we're going to start on the details first. So we're going to trim around her mouth and around her ears. I'm going to get the inside of her paws. I'm going to get her privates and just all the little areas I can't really get with the trimmer and do the hard stuff first. With my hand shears. And I want her to be comfortable because she's going to have to be on her back at one point. I'm also going to get the mats out from underneath the back and inside of her arms, her legs, kind of like her little armpit area. And I need her to be in a comfortable spot where she can be on her back and I can get to those detailed areas. It's also kind of chilly outside, so we're going to work in here for now. So what I'm doing very carefully is I'm feeling along the edge of the ear for where her skin, her cartilage ends so that I don't trim it. So I can feel that with my thumb here. I recommend you use that comb, that plastic fine tooth comb I mentioned, if you're not as familiar and you're not used to doing this, just so you use the comb as a guard to feel where that cartilage is or where the skin is with every single cut you do with the shears. So I'm just feeling for that and pulling up the hair and trimming. And this takes some practice and getting used to, but once you've got it down, it can move pretty quickly. I also pull up these little fine hairs on her ear just to trim them a little bit. And the inside of their ear is really important. Some dogs, like schnauzers, you have to yank the hair out, which is very painful. Luckily with Allie, she has an open enough ear formation where we don't have to, but I need to get these hairs cut. So I'm very careful when I do this to go in and out quickly, because otherwise it's gonna tickle and she's gonna flinch. And sometimes I'll just console her and say, good girl, good girl. There's a lot of commands like stay, hold still, things like that throughout the whole cutting. See, she's already getting a little agitated. Hey, you stay. But she's been a very patient girl with this. Okay, this is looking better. I've got a nice trim on this. It does not have to be perfect. I think that's the #1 rule. The dog doesn't care. And I just want it to look good enough. The cool thing about a doodle is because their coat is curly, it's forgiving. Like, if you don't get a perfect line or anything, it doesn't really matter. And it'll grow out within a number of days, weeks. You really won't notice a difference if you make any mistakes. So that looks good enough. The rest of this stuff we can get with the trimmer, so I'm not going to worry about that. All right, I'm going to move on to her eyes. So she has these little eyebrows. Just going to trim those up a little bit. So I'm going to go with the trim that she's already got and just shorten it a tiny bit, knowing that the trimmer can get a lot of this. But like right around her eye corner here, I'm just going to go in, make this shorter. Okay. And this, we have a line here that's a little bit of a stylistic like cheek. So I'm just going to trim that up nice. All right. And then the line also comes down this way, so I'm just going to trim that up. And you can kind of see where the line was from the last cut. As a guide. Good girl. Lots of praise throughout. Good girl, Allie Doodle. Good job. Yeah, you're such a good patient girl, aren't you? Like I said, you get practice as you go. At first it's very difficult, but it gets easier over time. Yeah. Hi. I'm going to try to get that angle here. And go like this. Here. That's a girl. That a girl. Good. You're very patient. Let's stay. That a girl. See, I'm trying to get the hair away from her lip. So I stick my thumb up between her lip and her fur. No, hold still. Good. That a girl. Good job. You can see I've got her mouth all nice and trimmed up now, right around her nose and along her lips. Here. We're going to trim up under here a little bit. And I'm going to try to get some of the mats out from around her legs. I do think having your dog on their back like this and doing this builds trust. I think it's a good training moment too. While it's not easy for them, I think they need to trust that you will take care of them and help them and put them at ease. Yeah, you're a good girl, Allie. I certainly wouldn't bring the trimmer into her more tender areas. And I've already noticed when she's on her back like this, I can check her paws too more. I can inspect things more. I've already noticed a burr in her toe that I didn't know about, so very helpful to make sure she is clean and I'm aware of anything and she just stays healthy. I would highly recommend using the plastic fine-tooth comb. If you're not familiar, you don't want to nick any of her skin. Don't want to nick any skin or cartilage anywhere. I've just been doing this for over 8 years, so I'm very familiar. Now what I'm doing, this is part of the bell-bottom cut here. What I'm doing here is I'm tidying up her tummy as well as the inside of her legs, because when she's all said and done with the cut, it will make her tummy look thinner. It will trim her waistline on the bottom of her belly. So I'm just going up to where her rib cage line is right here. I'm going up to her rib cage so it's nice and trim here for a really very pretty kind of stylistic look. Stylish look. And last but not least, while I've got her here, I've got a lot of the work done. I'm going to trim out the hair inside of her paws. She's a breed that has this fur. If it gets too long, it really gets bad in the winter because the snow will ball up inside of her toes. It still does it, but if you trim it out like this, it will minimize that buildup. I'm just gonna get the mats in under here to her like little armpit area, because this can get matted because there's fur rubbing. I'm feeling right now as I'm inspecting it, I haven't checked this out for a while, I'm not feeling many mats, so that's great. It means the last time we cut worked really well. So this is easier for her because we're almost done. Good girl, good girl, yeah. You also see you missed a spot right there. So I'm gonna focus on her paws, the middle of her paws. Good girl, Allie. Okay, okay, good girl. Okay, up. Good girl. Let's give you a treat. So I've got my oil here, and I've got the trimmer all plugged in. So now I'm just gonna run a little tiny bit of it along the blade, and then run it. Let that run for a tiny bit. And I usually start out that first pass not near her head because it'll get a little bit of oil in her fur, but not a big deal. So I usually do it on her back somewhere. Come on, sweetheart. Let's go. Here, can you face this way? Here. Come here, babe. You can stay here. Stay. Stay. Good. To get the blade not so hot, because it is warm now and we're taking a break, I unplug the trimmer, and then I'm going to push this in and push this up, pull this back, comes off, and then I'm just going to soak it in some water in this little tub here. And it instantly cools off because it's metal. And then I just pat it dry. And it's nice, it's a cooler day today in the fall.
If it's in the summer, this thing stays really hot. It conducts heat really well. So I've got it pretty dry. And then I'm just gonna slide it here, right back on, and then snap it forward. Always unplug it for safety. Now I'm gonna re-plug it back in. Back in business. So as you can see, it is very doable to do it on your own. It went nice and slick and fast. I think total time cutting between the shears and the trimmer was probably an hour and 20 minutes. And it used to take me 4 hours to do the shearing by hand. Crazy. And it turned out really good. So this bell-bottom cut, you can tell her bell-bottoms aren't real long, but you can see the length of the fur here. I kept that. And then here, sweetie, come this way. Come over here. Good. So you can see I have that here. And then in the belly, I just really tapered it here so it's nice and thin. She's got a really cute tuck here, cute waistline. And come over here. I'll show everybody your hindquarters. And then here, I've got the long tail. I cleaned this up so it's nice and tidy and healthy for her. And then I scallop down the cut here. So she's got some nice bell-bottom style. Really cute for fall and winter. And then we'll put a sweater on her when we go for walks if she gets too cold. But I think it looks great. We really can't do this bell-bottom cut in the summer or the spring just because there's ticks, there's stuff that gets caught in her fur. So I really enjoy doing it in the fall and in the winter when we actually can. You want to say bye to everybody? Huh? Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Yeah, say bye-bye. So I hope this has helped you figure out some solutions, ways that maybe you can do grooming on your own too with your Doodle, or just any dog. Save you some money, save you some time, a fun way to bond with your pet too. And thanks for watching.